Hello there and welcome to another video from Oscar Cooper. This is a 5-year couch co-op coop special, PlayStation 4 couch co-op games. And as normal, I'm going to go on about how strong all these games are, especially this one, number 5. And I think I might have to drop on some of my regulars because this is very new. You may not have heard it before. It's called Shing. A mimic of the noise. There's a word for that. 4 characters, 4 player. I'm going to show the 2 player. Some of them are quite scantily clad. That was brought up at some point during the playthrough, but it's a Streets of Rage clone is the wrong thing because there's kind of more depth of field and there's a lot more complication with the controls on it. It's actually very, very good. It's the right analog stick that does the sword swing and up on the or a sweep with the analog stick. You notice this half semicircle move stuff going on. I do and I don't like that. I'd rather have a button command to know exactly what move I'm going to pull off and when I'm going to pull it off. But it gives this sort of free motion almost. Combos link up. You end up feeling quite comfortable with it very early. There's this counter block which is damned hard to get, which is on L1, and that's one of the ways to crack this guy's shield. So you've got depth with the enemies, and you've also got depth with the boss fights. This was not a simple boss fight. It involves this giant lizard eating a special colour of miniature goblin in order for him to be vulnerable enough to be able to whack the crap out of it. It's not simple at all.
So, does that mean he's on our side? Nope, never mind.
How does it run, I hear you ask? Beautifully, absolutely beautifully. One of the things I'm also enjoying is switching in and out of characters. You see on the left you've got that crosshair of faces where you can just up down on the directional button and go to whoever, and it's a bit like Marvel vs. Capcom or something because the health on that character will be fine if you've not used them yet. That's not very well explained at all. But if you're starting to die, you switch out to someone else who's got full health there, we'll do it like that. Now, the performance with 4 players I haven't looked at. So I'm thinking, because this game gets so busy, maybe we'll see some slowdown or some sort of jerkiness, but not yet. And it's so enjoyable. It's a real surprise for it to be so new, so good looking, so gory as well. But really welcome to be on the PlayStation 4 for a relatively sort of winter of its life cycle. We've got a really awesome, beautiful looking 4-player beat 'em up side scroller. The game is also well aware of the upstroke, putting the enemy in the air, and you being able to Devil May Cry style keep them up, keepy uppy. There's even a challenge on the front menu of how long you can keep an enemy up. I think there's various challenges at stages, incorporating your special abilities or moves that sort of open up areas of the game you weren't aware of. One of the things also is that you get a meter, it builds up, you sort of get an R3 prompt to go into kind of a powered up mode. That is a bit weak at the moment when it comes to pumping upgrades into my characters. I am getting those options at the end of the levels, etc. But killing this boss was so much fun. And the gore! I think that's kind of the theme here, that you have 4 characters that have these different weapons slightly. The female character has a longer staff, which has got a slightly smaller build move on it, so you don't really need to go into those RPG elements with individual upgrades. You've got this choice already. You'll see that different coloured orbs are getting dropped by different types of enemies, and these give buffs related to their colours. One of them is an electrical buff that allows you a projectile, weapon almost, or bullet to come out of your sword. Very empowering, very cool looking. All the lighting and neon stuff looks really cool against some of this traditional Japanese-esque background, and there is some yokai and demons and loads of references to that sort of folklore, so that's always really welcome when it comes to a video game. You can see just how crazy it gets, look, and that's I love that idea. The only thing is that the gore's ramped up and the gameplay is not rocket science, so I'm wondering about the audience there. But it totally competes with stuff like River City Girls and Streets of Rage 4. Yes, totally, really good side-scrolling beat 'em up under the name of Shing. So you can tell how strong this list is going to be if Hotshot Racing is 4th. And this has made a massive noise. Everyone loves this. It's everywhere. It should be. This is not Horizon Zero Chase by any stretch of the imagination. It's got a lot more depth than that. It's got a cool Ridge Racer style voice shouting at the beginning, and it's got some polygons coming out of its ears. Quite literally, this game is looking like something from a Nintendo 64, but I love that idea, and it runs really well. This is the selling point of it. You're looking at some beautiful frame rates. Obviously, the resolution's a little bit better than the Nintendo 64 game, but the in-game assets, the colours, and its message give you that cool old-school console vibe. Do you know what I mean? And that's a really welcome genre when it comes to arcade races. I kind of think that was the golden genre for this type of game. If you're not aware, my daughter's been helping me loads, and she's not young, she's not like 9 or anything, she's in her 20s, and so I always play racing games with her, and I'll get to that in a second. But you'll notice in that there's actually a pausing because a lot of people are going to see these videos, and I have to make sure the footage isn't that terrible. So I've paused it here. And there's probably been a few words said, and then we've gone back into it again with slightly more concentration. It isn't simple, and the reason I am so harsh on said individual is because I haven't beaten them on Mario Kart for years. I haven't beaten on Mario Kart for years. We're into the years now, and it's starting to creep into Crash Bandicoot Racer as well. She's starting to also basically dominate that. So I know when performances aren't at their top level, but they got there, and wow, this is so much fun, so much fun. The cars, the AI literally pushes back on you. Everyone wants to smash into everybody, everyone wants to be using their boosts. We get that burnout vibe here. I'm so happy with this. It's a non-directional button racer. You've got to use that analog stick, and you also will be pumping that brake and pumping that accelerator a la early Burnout style. I like that. The back end comes out on the cars. Incidentally, there's characters that have all got different cars. They don't all have the same class that look different. I didn't notice this. The female character's got a Formula 1 car. I tried going around that on the track with the high acceleration stat, and it's almost impossible to drive. We kind of went quite safe with it. I think that's the American muscle down at the bottom there, and I'm on the Japanese, I think that's a Skyline mimic, but a lot of depth, welcome depth as well. I'm trying to think of a split screen racer that has this much actual driving mechanic in it, that isn't Gran Turismo and, you know, in a tiny boxed screen and have no AI going around the track with you. The boost reward system harks right back to that old school flavour with getting bonused for T-boning someone or doing some massive drift. You also get your green bar going up for that. So you've got to be aggressive and you've got to be nice and sloppy with your cornering to get some of those cool boosts going. And they will win you games, trust me. You can whack them on, you can stack them. You can't stack them, you can have 2 right next to you, you can get up to 3. Have 3 in a row on the final straight and just clear past 5 cars. It does happen. Normally to me, not by me. I think this is pretty multi-platform, this one. I think it's around 15 to 20 available on the Switch. I'm talking to people who have got it on the Switch and they love it and enjoy it. Yet to try the 4-player, that will happen, as you all well know. And Michael, as you well know, this has now got to go on the pile for that ominous top racer list. So wow, really good last quarter for the PlayStation 4 on the indie racer scene. With this bad boy, this is the replay. It's brilliant. Just the fact they've put it in there. The music's a bit tough though. Oof, okay, this is midway point, number 3. And you might notice that I'm taking a bit more time. It's the special. So I'm giving every game at least 5 minutes because every game deserves that. This is not a SpongeBob situation. We've got some 5 crackers, and this is a real beauty. And again, I might have some of my regulars unaware that this is available on the PlayStation 4 and full-blown 2-player. Spiritfarer. Very laid back, very beautiful. I get Ghibli vibes with it. I get good versus evil vibes with it. I get all kinds of cool little platform, even Rayman Legends vibes with it. The other person is playing as that cat if they want to. It's literally log in, log out stuff. There's interaction on objects and NPCs with both characters on screen, so there's not that redundant feel. You're definitely both involved. And it's the story and the richness of the characters and the premise of which this game exists. You're actually manning this massive boat and going around an actual map, just like in Wind Waker, to islands and visiting the residents, trading, getting resources, and rescuing spirits, right? Who then become apparent once they're on the boat. It's, yeah, there's some drugs involved in that, I think. But the resource management and the animations on just about everything is so adorable. And I'm loving the dialogue and the story. But this is a game that you play to really relax you. You know, you've even got Stardew, little snippets maybe of Animal Crossing with all the interactions with everybody either on the boats or in the villages. You've got some amazing cooking stuff going on. That's a little clock on the wall, and depending on what you put in there is the speed at which that thing goes round. Getting fishing, I've just ranked up my fishing rod, so there's now like active feedback when I'm fishing, and it means that I can get better stuff to fish with, to take to the villages to trade with. Everybody knows the deal with this type of game, but it's the execution. There's no real like solid rules to what this world's all about, or where all this is going, and it almost feels like a sequel to something that you haven't played. That might even be the case, to be fair, but it's so intriguing. And navigating around this map and meeting new characters and trading with them, finding new spirits and getting new upgrades and being more powerful, and just opening up this colossal map. I mean, you're looking at these tiny postage stamp sized sections of it at the beginning. You don't actually realise until you zoom out how much work you've actually got to do, and the depth of all of the characters and the stories behind all of them. It's really engrossing, and it's very relaxing because of this production and music and visuals. It just comes together. There is a certain amount of resource gathering and management when it comes to the gardening and feeding your spirits, or even preparing some awkward dish that they eat. There's that sort of layer underneath all of the adventuring and going to the different islands and actually upgrading this ship. This ship has also got a construction section to it. I'll show you that in a second. I just wanted to just highlight how weird the flying jellyfish level. You go up to it on the map, there's these special glims, you get one in a jar. What the frig? And I think that's one of its draws. You don't know what's around the corner. You don't know what strange gameplay mechanic you're going to be introduced to, or what weird character you're going to get back onto the boat and then introduced to everybody else, and they might have an integral role in some of the buildings or structures that you have. There's just so much opening up at the right times, and looking as it should, and sounding as it should. Spiritfarer is available on the Switch as well. It may also be available multi-platform. I'm pretty sure that it's over on the PC, because we had a bit of a delay on our PlayStation 4 release. I remember it bouncing around on the Switch a little bit earlier. Would love to own it on obviously all platforms, but this is one for the BFs and GFs out there, the partners. You know, this is cool, accessible and rewarding, and just a joy to play, really. This is some of the building expansion stuff, as you can see, and there's also a day and night cycle which involves you hopping into bed and, you know, getting some rest ready for your big voyage in the morning. What a beautiful little game, Spiritfarer. What's this? Has Coop got the drop on us again? Battle Planet Judgement Day, what the frig? Where? From where? Who's this? What's this? Brand new, Coops, brand new. Right? Couple of months, might even be a couple of weeks. What's it all about? Well, should we get our boxes out? Okay, twin stick, tick. Roguelike, tick. 2-player, tick. Mario Galaxy, tick. Alien Horde, tick. Shotguns, tick. Magma, tick. Bombs, tick. Upgrades tick. Holy shit. We're in the Mecca. This is not made by Housemarque. Can you believe that? Yes, you're running around on a hell ball, and it surprisingly is a lot bigger than it looks. It's weird that. I got that with Galaxy as well. I was like, this level's tiny, but actually circumnavigating the entire thing takes a while. And there's even stuff on the other sides of these things that you forget to notice. You'll see that I'm diffusing bombs, and if I don't do it in time, it blows a bit of the damned planet off. Anyway, I was thinking, how on earth are they going to do this two-player? I'm thinking there's one or two options here. Either they do a split, or they whack us both on the same screen. Okay? If it's the latter, would it work? Let's have a little think. Let's have a little think, punters. I'll give you a few seconds. Well, I'll give you a clue. The latter would not work. This works. Tell you why, because you could not give two frigging shits what the hell is going on the other side of that screen, because you are fighting for your life, right? Even making it between energy packs is a risk. You have to judge how much energy you're going to lose to get to that next energy pack. It's bloody brilliant, and it's just by chance that you'll come past each other in the bullet hellish globe. I mean, it looks like it's testicular cancer awareness advert, but it's not. It's balls deep. It's split screen. Absolutely awesome. It's not just diffusing these bombs, but it does go to this game model quite frequently, and it is quite fun. They'll be dotted around the globe. They have timers on them, and you'll know the next one because your shield will have an arrow on it. So that was how I was finding the next bit to go. You get 4 stages and a boss, and some of the stages will be survival. Now that's where the game really does not hold back on the surviving on the globe as opposed to doing the diffuses. I'll show you some of that in a second. But the bosses are switching out as a typical roguelike shoot, and one of them was the playable character I am now, which leads me to believe you might have to play this to the first boss, beat them to get the 2-player unlock. Don't know, because I just did all that on the 1-player before I got the team round to play, so come back to me on that one. But it's all about these chips, and with all roguies, man, it's so important. Getting your speed up, getting your weapon up, getting that blink up. So she's got a different move set on the left. She has a blink, and he has a jetpack, which is a boost. It massively different play styles. She's really weak. She's kind of like a bit squidgy. She's a tracer, and of course he's a bit more tanky but slower. And you never have a starter weapon, as far as I know, that's different to what you're seeing. You have pickup weapons that you can upgrade as a pickup, if you know what I mean. But yeah, it's strange, and you can increase the weapon drop rate as an upgrade as well, which is quite normal for roguelikes. There's this layered cool stuff getting piled on the more you play it, you know. Yeah, so it's called Battle Planet Judgment Day. Don't worry, I had to look as well, and it's available now on the PlayStation Store, and I reckon it's 14 quid, $20, maybe a little bit cheaper, but because it's very new. Alright, I think you knew this was coming. I couldn't put the intro on. Well, you can't put the intro on with that Rage Against the Machine anyway, because you'd be instantly demonetized. But I couldn't put even the title screen on with this cool camera following the Noid. Don't know. Might be something to do with some details or personal details on there. Don't know. Boring coop. No one's listening to that. Tony Hawk's Pro Skater 1 and 2. That I didn't actually play either of them when I was younger. Tell you what I did play though. Underground. Tony Hawk's I played that extensively, man. Me and a mate, I used to work in a pub in London. The chef used to come upstairs hours and hours playing the verses on split screens. Probably one of my most pleasant, other than Speedball 2, most pleasant split screen memories, to tell you the truth. It was brilliant. We had so much fun trying to get past each other on scores under a timed sort of attack within a different set of arenas. It was a bit of a wake-up call getting back into this. Did take a little bit of time. The muscle memory kicked in though, getting the grinds was bang on there, getting the manuals on the land, it all just started coming back, holding down those different combinations. SSX tricky, I was there for all of it. I love it. And it was really good to see a game like this in with as much graphical improvement on it. Wow. And why didn't they release that? They're doing it with Need for Speed. Why didn't they release Need for Speed Underground? What's with this anti-underground movement going on? Let's get straight to the visuals then. I wanted to look at them straight away. I don't see any issues. I was thinking, because it's a pretty game, okay, and it's smooth on the one player, and there's quite a lot going on in some of these maps. I wanted to put like one of the busier ones on. Couldn't see any issues at all. I can see some granular issues on draw distance. That's to be expected. I think this is probably 720 on a resolution level, probably. Please don't quote me on that, but that's how it feels. But the frame rates have certainly not taken a hit at all, not by any stretch. So impressed. Sometimes you see a little bit when you do a big flashy game-winning coupe special on some of the moves, but other than that, so impressed with this performance. Trying to think, because I look at my demographics on my audience quite a lot, and a lot of you guys are sort of 30 to 40 and maybe 25, 20, and so some of you may never have gone near this, which made me think you better just explain why it's such a couch co-op speciality, because not only getting your head round the awesomely fluid controls with these Tony Hawk's games, is getting your head round doing it quicker than the person on the screen next to you, and then seeing what they're pulling off, and or even better, seeing them fail on a move that you but while you're laughing at them falling off, you've probably buggered up on your own side. So that for me produces a lot of fun over a lot of hours. And the animated board designs. Jesus, we live in an amazingly technological world when skins are animated on skateboards, on a remaster. It's a crazy one, but I like that idea of really having a lot of depth in your customization with the character that you're playing with, because you can pull that out of the one player and you can just look really cool, and that will again annoy your mate. I wanted to touch on what content's restricted or available to you as you play on split screen, and none of it. If anything, you get more. You've got access to all of the maps and cool arenas straight off the bat, and you've got access to all of those cool modes. Horse mode, I used to particularly love. You can stack up, make tournaments, absolutely amazing. Obviously, not 4-player, which couldn't be helped, you never know. But this is at the top of the list, remember, and it's really a couch co-op staple diet, this now. Everybody should get into this if you've never seen it and you've got someone who is pretty up for pulling off some cool moves, understands how these sort of score attack modes work with these games. Then you're going to have so much fun, man. You're going to have loads of fun. I'm not too sure how it works with profiles and 2 profiles on a system. I certainly know you don't need to have any online access to enjoy any of this content, but I don't know if you can take any of this online. I'm pretty sure you don't. The competitive online multiplayer, I haven't looked at that yet. So yeah, what a cracker, and how cool to have it back. And why don't you get Underground sorted? So that's going to kind of wrap things up. I hope you enjoyed that slightly lengthier format. I'm going to give you an idea of my schedule coming up. Please do pay attention, because we've got some cool stuff on there. I do have a new turn-based, best of turn-based PlayStation 4 games list. So think about that. You've got XCOM, you've got Divinity Original, you've got this new one we're looking at here now. There's that new Mechanicus. There's quite a lot, and that old coop needs to collate. So that's coming up. And of course, we've got some pretty huge videos with indie games. I'm doing a best PlayStation 4 indie game full stop video, because we're coming up to the end of the platform, and I'll probably do an all-time best couch co-op video, which I have asked you lot to give me your top 5s on before, and I will ask again. And of course, as always, you did it!